Oh, hi there.
My favourite moment from last year's HGG
was when Amnesiac wearing all-American clothing at the finals.
When New Zealand beat Australia.
When the Philippines beat Germany.
Well played!
What's my favourite number? 30.
30.
30.
Pasta? Yeah, definitely 30. And the pizza.
My 30 favourite card?
That's too much.
You what, mate?
30 cards right now?
I have to play.
The global games are all about
National pride.
Team spirit.
Cheering for Germany.
great community of friends and family.
For your winners, Czech Republic.
This year, Czech Republic doesn't stand a chance against Sweden.
They don't even stand a chance.
Spain has a really good chance to beat them this time.
What makes the US such great Hearthstone players?
Playing smart.
French players love to play different decks.
What does Belgian Hearthstone players have in common?
Pride?
To the global games!
Ladies and gentlemen and patrons around the world, welcome to the final day of BlizzCon 2018's Hearthstone Global Games. Months ago, we began a campaign to challenge 48 of the world's best countries at Hearthstone and ask them which of you can remain. And today we are down to our final 4 with China, Brazil, Norway, and New Zealand. I am your master of Tavern Monies, Frodan. And this weekend, we have gathered 8 of the best countries, but only 4 can duke it out today in a single elimination bracket. Let's go ahead and get the games underway, but first, let's check in with further pre-show ceremonies with Sottle and Raven at the desk.
Thanks a lot, Dan. I'm joined, of course, by Sottle. As always, apart from the last series we had yesterday, where you decided to just take it off, we had to get someone to help out. So we are here and we are ready to kick off this final day. Only 4 teams are left after double elimination groups that we played out all of yesterday. So plenty of Hearthstone happened. You can catch up on the VODs if you wanted to catch any of the matches we had. I will say the last match was the best for me in terms of just craziness that went on.
Yeah, I was watching that match myself, safe from my hotel room, drowning in cold medication and antibacterial hand wash, but it was a sight to behold, honestly, as they lived up to the prophecy. You know, they were backstage, they were saying, hey, Quest Rogue isn't that good against Odd Warrior anymore. And I was like, all right, prove it. Win the series by winning that matchup. And then, of course, Team Norway being Team Norway went and did just that.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible overall, but there are a few other teams knocking around. I will say New Zealand, just maybe not the strongest team or the team everyone thought would make it, but they're still here. They keep just plugging away and getting those wins. They did take a loss yesterday, but due to the nature of double elimination, by the sounds of it, as you guessed it, you do have to lose twice to get knocked out, but now it is just win and in. That's all that matters. Each match for the first 2 today are going to be the one that's going to take one team into the finals, and both matches are pretty sick.
Yeah, and I think New Zealand as well, just looking around, you know, following the buzz on Twitter, etc., there's a lot of fan support coming out towards New Zealand. They've really captured the hearts and minds of the viewing audience, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of celebration both in their home country and outside if they were to take home this whole thing.
Yeah, definitely one of the favourites, at least for the fans, but just, as I mentioned, there was a lot of Hearthstone that played yesterday, and we can actually take a look at the brackets and how it all shook out in the end as well, because there were 8 teams, and it's double elimination, as you can see. So let's check out Group A. China took down New Zealand early on, and then went on to beat Hong Kong for the group winners. Spain taking that early loss, as we saw on the first match on stream of the day. Was unfortunate because Spain again has a very large fan base, but they did not make it as they took a loss to New Zealand, and then New Zealand just stomped through the lower portion of Group A in very convincing fashion.
Yeah, I do want to give a quick shout out to Hong Kong in that group as well. You know, disappointing performance from them, of course, but it's a shame we didn't get to see more, because I think they're a team that were being undervalued a little bit coming into this. They have some great players, some fantastic players who've amassed a lot of points and consistent performances throughout the year.
Yeah, let's take a look at Group B as well that was played out. Brazil, the best performing team in the whole of the HGG tournament so far, continued to do it. They just won their group, and I wondered if they were going to be stopped. They took down favorite Norway as well in that winners match, but then Norway said, no, this is not happening. We are not leaving right now. And as you mentioned in the final match, Norway versus Bulgaria, Hunter Race and Team Norway was saying, nah, we'll beat Questrogue with Odd Warrior, so it'll be fine. And then they actually just did. Make sure to check that match out if you haven't seen it, because it was pretty incredible.
It came down to a very, very clutch cornered sentry in the end, which I heard Hunter Race lost his voice screaming at his team to take during that Discover.
Well, hopefully there's enough voice left, as this is what the finals looks like. It's going to be China versus Norway in semi-final number 1. That is the match myself and Sol are going to be bringing you. And then Brazil and New Zealand in the lower portion of that bracket. And I would have to say, if you were, going to guess at the best odds of the matchups coming out here, I would say a Norway-Brazil finals no one would be too upset about.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how the matchups are going to break down, but that's definitely the dream final. It's the rematch from earlier. It's Norway's chance to get their revenge. It's, as we've been saying throughout, the most consistent performers throughout HGG itself, which is Brazil. They've only lost 1 series throughout 3 entire stages of this tournament, going up against the remaining team with the most star power, the most highly regarded players on their roster, and that is Norway. And also, I think adding another modifier to that, the team that's played the best Hearthstone on camera this weekend as well. I think that goes to Norway as well. So that is the final I want to see, and I think you guys mostly will want to see as well.
Yeah, and I think there is a team we've not touched on too much, which is China. And let's not forget about this. This is almost a redemption story for China as a Hearthstone region, because they have not been getting the results in HCT.
Nope.
They have just not been performing. They don't have players at the World Championships yet qualified. So it's been a tough year for China. But if China can win Hearthstone Global Games, the country-based tournament, that is something of a victory for them, because otherwise the Hearthstone year for that region is just not looking fantastic in terms of world play.
Yeah, going even further back than that, I think last year their performance in Hearthstone Global Games was very underwhelming as well.
Yeah, you're right.
So, they do really just keep having to pass these new tests that are being put in front of them, and so far are failing to do so. But we know, and we keep hearing from people who have their ear to the ground in the Chinese scene, that these guys should be as good as anyone, but they can't perform on the global stage right now.
No, well, they've got it done so far, though, making semi-final number 1. And as I said, Norway versus China is going to be the first match we'll bring you. I'm excited because we can delve into it a little bit more once we get to it, once the teams are ready. But there are some spicy deck lists from China that Norway have to try and navigate. As I said, we'll get that into a little bit more. And I will say, though, I think the high spirits from teams like New Zealand and Norway that we have in person seen at this event has really helped them. It feels like the teams that are just the most hyped, the most ready to go, are the teams that have been performing the best, even Brazil, to add that to the list.
I think that's a very good point. Yeah, there's been a general balance. Some people have just been enjoying the atmosphere of BlizzCon more. Some people have been more tense, more focused on practicing, but it does seem to be the more relaxed, happy bunch like Norway, Brazil, those kind of teams that are succeeding.
Okay, well, without further ado, that's enough from us for now. Let's go back to Frodan to introduce the first match.